Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Home Shop Tips. Today I'm working on my Sears U4G chainsaw. When I purchased it, it came without an air filter. Here's the carburetor, and right on this plate here is where the air filter would have sat. And the kind of air filter that came on these chainsaws, this is a David Bradley essentially. It's badged as a Sears, but the kind of air filter that came on it was this sort of thing. It's a tube of this cardboard, paper, wood-like sort of material. I really don't know what it is. This particular filter came off of my other David Bradley over there, so this is too large to fit. But it would have gone on like so, and there was this plate with a screw in it that would have cinched it on the carburetor like that. But these air filters are really hard to come by. I've been looking for a while and I haven't been able to find one that fits, and they came in a bunch of different sizes, so even if you find one, it might not even be the right size. So I wanted to make an air filter. I don't want to run this without an air filter, of course, because the chainsaw, all the wood dust and everything. And I didn't want to wait around to find an original one, so I decided to make an air filter. It's a very simple thing, so it's not too complicated to fabricate one of your own. So what I did, first I measured where the air filter would ride around, and this diameter here, and that was 1 3/4 inches. And I decided that I want the air filter to stick out a little bit further than this mounting bracket here. There's a screw hole, threaded screw hole in there. I wanted to stick out a little further to give more surface area for the filter, and more surface area means higher airflow, and also more surface area to catch particles, so the filter can go longer without getting excessively clogged up. So what I did, I took a piece of sheet metal and I drilled a bunch of holes in it. This was a little bit tedious, but I just set it up in my drill press over there and drilled a bunch of holes, and then I wrapped it around a steel pipe and used it as a form to make a nice tube out of this perforated sheet metal. Of course, if you had some perforated sheet metal or some really heavy-duty wire mesh or hardware cloth, that would work perfectly, but I didn't have any, so I did this way. And I just used 2 machine screws right there with a nut on the back and some washers to fasten it together into a cylinder, and that slides right on there like that. Then I needed to have a plate like this one, but smaller, of course. I needed to have a plate to cinch it up against that plate there. So I used the hole saw. This is a 2 1/8 inch hole saw, and chucked it up in my drill press and very, very slowly and carefully drilled a hole out of a piece of sheet metal. You got to go really slowly because there's a lot of teeth cutting, and the drill press didn't really like it too much. So I came up with this thing. You have to really deburr it. I spent a couple minutes with a file to get this nice and smooth. And because it's a hole saw, it already has a center drill hole, so I already had a hole in it right in the middle, right smack in the middle for a machine screw to go through. And then you can put that screw in, cinch it up, and then with a screwdriver you can get it nice and firm. And now it's not going anywhere now. But of course this isn't going to filter anything, obviously, but it's basically just a frame to put a replaceable filter element on it. And what I have over here, this just looks like paper, but if you looked at it up close, it's sort of like a really heavy-duty coffee filter paper. I suppose you could use coffee filter too, but it's a lot more feeble. This is some really heavy stuff. It almost feels like a dollar bill. It sort of has that cottony feel to it. But I figure I might either use this stuff and just, cut a rectangle and wrap it around, maybe, just glue it into a cylinder and, glue it onto here, or use, this is just a rag, actually. I pulled from my rag pile, but it's knit, that stretchy knit t-shirt material, and it too has holes in it. You can see, the light's coming through. It's got holes in it, and it's cheap and reusable, and maybe I might even break out the needle and thread and sew a cylinder out of this so it's washable even, and we just go around it like that, and it would serve as an air filter. Of course, this isn't perfect. Maybe I should make a gasket to go along there and to go along here. Maybe make the filter element extend out that way and that way a little bit so it covers these joints, these edges here. But that's the basic concept, and it's not perfect, and most more modern air filters, the filter paper is pleated, meaning that there's ridges up and down, and that gives more surface area onto the air filter. So that extends the life and also increases the amount of air that can flow through the filter, letting the engine breathe better. But I figured, if the engine is designed from the factory to breathe through this thing, which, if you look at it from far away, it just looks like it's a piece of wood. So I figure that my design here shouldn't really impede the motor at all. If anything, it might even let it breathe a little bit better. Of course, I'll have to readjust the carburetor a little bit once I have a filter on here, because that'll restrict the engine's breathing a little bit. But anyway, that's it. Just figured I'd show you guys how I manufactured or fabricated a down and dirty air filter for my Sears U4G gear drive chainsaw, because these filters never really caught on. I could see why. They're kind of bulky and probably kind of fragile and low airflow, and pretty hard to come by nowadays. So might be running it like this for a while. Another thing you could do, maybe find some really fine window mesh, some really fine stuff. They make it really fine, maybe on a McMaster car. Make some really fine steel mesh to wrap around there. That might work. Keep the chips out, and the dust might still come in though. So anyway, that's it. Hope that helps spark some ideas for you guys. If you've got an air filter, or a lack of an air filter on an engine, you can't find one for it, or you're too cheap to buy one, this only took me maybe, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes to bang out. Just listen to the radio, hang out with my buddies, and make an air filter. So, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. As always, come back for more.